Mm-mm,
And we
mm-mm.
are live. I'm
Hi,
gonna
everyone.
Hi.
We're trying a different format for our mental health.
Yes, we are not camera ready, y'all. We are so sorry, but this is
We're
what we
not.
are
No,
live.
no,
Oh,
no. We are not sorry. We are
this
not
is the
sorry.
playback. Hold on. I always
Yeah,
have to click the playback. You know how it goes.
yeah.
YouTube
No.
be playing games. Okay, here we go.
We're not sorry for not showing our faces.
No, we're
This,
not really sorry about it, to be honest.
no.
It's been a hard week. It's been a hard month. It's been a hard year.
Yeah, 20 is a dumpster fire, and like no one has time to be trying to get pretty for a conversation that's not pretty at all.
Not at all. This is an
So,
emergency live stream because we
emer-
felt because of
emergency.
what, Brittany?
I said, yes, it's an emergency, an emergency.
Mm. But because of what our book club stands for and what we always strive to represent, you guys know that we always, always, always strive to uplift Black voices and basically sew back into our own community and uplift ourselves. And we just knew we couldn't not speak on everything that has transpired within the past week, even though there have been several incidents that have been going on for as far back as March, even though we were just learning about them in May. And things have just been escalating and building and building and building until this incident that occurred, I would say, earlier this week with George. So it's a lot. And I'm not going to lie, I have not been in a good place. I know a lot of us have not been in a good place. I have been crying every day. I was so angry that for like 3 days I couldn't even say anything, 3 or 4 days. Um, it's been a lot. Brittany, how have you been?
Anybody who knows me or has my Twitter knows I've been hot. I've been severely angry. At first, I was like, oh, I'm going to stay quiet and I'm going to process this by myself. And then I thought about it and I was like, F that. Everybody's going to understand how angry I am. And I still don't think that people grasp how angry I am with everything that's going on, because it's like, it's one thing. Like, I think when we actually had time to stop and realize how many transgressions have been recorded, especially in the past like 2 months, of just egregious murders against Black people in multiple states and countries.
Yes.
It's like, I don't understand how like I haven't set something on fire myself. That's just the best way to put it.
I think for me, it's almost experiencing PTSD because almost to the month, what was it in 2016? What was that, 4 years ago? With
Yep.
everything that was going on that started the Black Lives Matter movement. I remember that was one of the worst months of my life. I think it all happened like in June, I want to say. Late May, June, when, oh my gosh, that was one of the absolute worst months of my life. I just remember feeling so much pain, horror, complete disbelief. I think, watching, Philando Castile literally be killed in front of his family was my last, like that I lost it after that. And after that moment, I swore that I would never watch another Black person be killed on camera. I refused. And to this day, I have not watched the video of the police officer basically murdering George in broad daylight. I refuse. I've seen stills, I've seen short clips, I've read breakdowns of everything that happened. I've watched a lot of commentary videos, read a lot of news articles, but I refuse to watch that video because after Philando Castile, I was like, I will never watch another Black person be murdered on social media /video ever again. The trauma that I experienced after watching that is unimaginable. And then to constantly see it on the news since 2016 and even before 2016, constantly seeing articles, news stories, it's like they're trying to get you used to the trauma, and I really don't like that. You're being re-traumatized over and over and over again by all these images. And you have two options. I saw like a quote on Instagram that I thought was very, very telling. You pretty much have two options: to either just numb yourself to everything just so that you can exist and live and go about your business and go about your day and find some type of joy or happiness, or you literally live in a state of complete anger and rage, which is not healthy. So it definitely puts you in a really horrible place, a really horrible position. And a lot of times, I know for me personally, I lean more towards numbing myself and just shutting down just so I can get through my day, so I can go to work, so I can like laugh, so I can escape by reading or going on a walk. Otherwise, it's like I exist in a constant level of just rage.
Yeah, see, we're opposites. Where you want to just try to numb it out, I'm like, I have to embrace it head on, because the longer I don't say something, the more likely somebody could get hurt. And it's like that could be someone else, that could be me. Like, never, honestly, because my therapist was asking me that question about like, when was the first time in terms of like trauma, like that I remember vividly. And it was actually in July of 2016 that Philando was gunned down in front of his daughter and girlfriend. And
Yes.
I remember it because I just couldn't believe that it was on Facebook Live.
Oh my God.
And then, like, I couldn't believe, like, I remember that feeling. And then ironically, in Minnesota this week, it happened again.
It's unbelievable.
All we get is Manslaughter 3, and he hired the same lawyer.
Yes.
Like,
such a slap in the face.
I was like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I keep hearing all these people talking about, oh, rioting is not the answer. Looting is not the answer. Number one, there are multiple videos out there that show you it's just white people out there doing it and not even us. Second of all, what do you want from us?
Seriously.
What other options do we have? The police ain't protecting us. Burn the precinct down. And that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they did.
Come on, like, what a slap in the face. He knew he was going to get off. He hired the same lawyer that got the other murderer off. He knew what he was doing. Nobody can sit here and tell me that there's not a system in place where they feel a protection that we should be feeling from them, that they feel for themselves.
And the sad thing is that this is a man who has had such an egregious history that has been completely ignored by not only his superiors, but I believe the district attorney at the time refused to prosecute him for, I believe he killed a Native American man years ago. I want to say it was like 10 years ago. There have been multiple complaints against him as an officer who uses a complete, just unneeded force when dealing with minorities, especially Black people. And there have been so many complaints against him, as well as some of the other officers that were there at George's murder and that were accomplices to his murder by just standing around and doing nothing. So I can't wrap my mind around that level of negligence, to the point where they just don't care. They don't care because they know nothing's going to happen to them. Like you said, they're going to be protected by their code of silence, their brotherhood. The actual legal system is literally set up to help them get away with murder, literally. So, and they're protected by their badge and that uniform. It just, I'm the kind of person where I'm very logical, which is why racism it's hard for me to understand it, because racism doesn't make sense. And I'm the kind of person, the way my mind works is very logic driven. 1 + 1 is 2, ABC. Like I like things to make sense and to line up. And, that level of hate and disregard for another human's life has no basis in logic for me. And so it's very hard for me to grasp. It's very hard for me to grasp.
Yeah. It's like I guess I was getting my feelings together until I realized that like there were more murders in May than what we knew of.
Mm.
You know, it was just like, okay, I'm a type of person who tries to find logic in everything. So for me, it's the craziest feeling that I got when I saw the George Floyd situation on social media was just like, I can't fathom what in your brain ignites such a hatred for people who were born this way. And it's like, I was born brown. It's the first thing you see about me when you see me.
Right.
I was born brown. I didn't ask for this. Why does my skin color come off aggressive to you? Why do you feel like my life and those other brown people like me don't matter or are so belittled to you that you can treat us less than you treat animals? Because listen, I saw more white people outraged by a dog hanging on his collar than the bird watcher whose life was in danger and anything George, Nina, Brianna, Amon, so many, like these people are dead. Yes. Those very people who were screaming for PETA, and, oh my God, take the dog, ain't seen nothing from them since. The dog is safe though, so I guess they did their job, right? Because the dog has more value than we as Black people do. Michael Vick spent more time in jail for his friends fighting dogs than any of these murderers have spent in jail. Like, think about that for a second.
It's incredibly appalling. And it kind of reminds me of even things that go on in a less dramatic sense. This is how entrenched the system is. This is how deep-rooted white supremacy is, that it even can trickle down into something just like a platform like YouTube. Because I remember for a while, so many bigger white creators were being outed for being racist, for having this paper trail online, especially on Twitter, of disparaging, demeaning, and saying disgusting racist things about Black women specifically. So many of these bigger YouTube creators, I'm not going to name them here because I don't want this live to get taken down, but so many of them were saying absolutely abhorrent, disgusting, sickening things specifically about Black women, even going as far as using racial slurs. They were on video saying the N-word, all sorts of things, and nothing happened to them. They made a fake ass apology with fake ass tears and went on about their lives, and there were really no repercussions. They didn't lose their careers, they didn't lose sleep, they didn't lose money. And then you had that one YouTuber who uploaded the wrong video.
Yep.
She uploaded the wrong video. Okay. She didn't upload the edited one. She uploaded the unedited one. And it had scenes of her being abusive towards her dog. And have we heard from her since? She was completely destroyed. They took her down as if she had been committing murder on a child on video. They completely destroyed her. They dragged her. They called for her dog to be taken away. They called for her channel to be taken away. I mean, it was insane. I think she lost so many subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, but to be clear, we don't advocate for animal cruelty either.
No, God, no.
We just want to know why Black people are below animals. That's all we want to know. It's just like PETA be real quick to scream about animals, but then PETA is also very quick to try to compare the Black struggle to animals.
Yes.
It's like, I can't, okay, I need to preface this. I'm angry. So in this particular live, I will do everything in my power to control my anger, but don't try to police me. It's not a good look today. So I will say, I cannot stand PETA and organizations like PETA because they have this twisted version of humanity that, just like white feminism, because let's be clear, white women fought for white women to be able to vote, not for all women to be able to vote. So that white feminism idea has been created since back then. These are the same women that run PETA. They don't care about us until they need us. Then they need us, they use us, and throw us back because they don't care about us. That's how I view PETA. That's how I view white feminism. That's how I view most, I'm not gonna lie, most of the bigger YouTubers, booktubers. I look at them the same way. Like, we are diversity quotas to these people. We're not even real people to these people.
Brittany, I know you went off a lot on Twitter, and I just want to, no, I mean, here's my thing. You're angry, but you have every right to be angry, right? And like,
yeah,
I'm the kind of person that I believe that a righteous anger is completely justifiable. And I don't think it's okay for people to try to, like, for lack of better words, calm you down or pacify you or patronize you. I don't think that that's fair. But I did kind of want to unpack some of your tweets.
Oh no, are you putting me on the spot?
No, I'm not putting you on the spot.
Every single one of my tweets in the past week have been me getting so angry that I get on Twitter, I see something stupid, I go off, and then I log off of Twitter again. Every single time I've gotten on Twitter this week has been me seeing something stupid like a follow train or, oh my God, murder. Here's people you should follow on YouTube. Like, you know what? I might as well just say this. So don't put no more follow Black people, follow trains. Don't make no more YouTube videos about here are the Black booktubers you should watch. Don't make no more goddamn videos until you making a video calling out racism. Because what are you gonna watch my book video when I'm getting gunned down in the street protesting? Does that make you feel better? Are you validated somehow that now you feel like you've done something when we've given you multiple charities, we've given you multiple things you can actually do to make a difference, and here you go posting on Twitter. If I wanted you to follow me, I wouldn't want you to follow me after a murder so that you wouldn't feel guilty about anything anymore.
Ooh.
Like, miss me. We're like the follow trains were before this, and y'all didn't have time to follow me. But oh, that's right, Black Lives Matter. It's not the month of February, but a Black man died, so let me go follow her. What does that do?
Absolutely.
Like, are you donating to charities? Are you calling out your racist families? Are you speaking up using your voice for actual differences? No, you're not. You're uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable too. But
okay.
The only difference is you get to be uncomfortable and be safe.
Yes.
I'm uncomfortable, and I got to worry about if I'm going to figure out if one of my family members or one of my loved ones are going to be a hashtag.
That's facts. And the thing is, we were born into this world uncomfortable because this world is not a comfortable place for us, period. So we have had to exist uncomfortably for pretty much all of our lives, while those feeling guilty, white guilt, which, okay, but you're uncomfortable for a moment and you get to move on and you get to forget about it. You get to put it in the back of your mind because it's not something that you're having to face or deal with. And that's what brings me to talking about social media activism. And while I appreciate allyship, although I know, Brittany, you have like a whole different take on this. But while I appreciate allyship and I appreciate people, white people, other people of color coming together and saying, you know what, this is not okay, and speaking out, I do appreciate that and using their platforms appropriately. I also think that a lot of people also use it as a way, like you said, to stop feeling guilty. Like, okay, I'm just going to post this post. But they're not actually doing anything behind the scenes. They're not educating themselves. They're not interacting with Black creators, whether they be booktubers or other YouTubers or artists or writers or whatever it is. They're not interacting with Black creators on their own time. They're not educating themselves. Like you said, they're not checking their family members. They're not talking to their children. They're not actually making active steps. They're not donating. They're not finding organizations. They're not educating themselves. Oh, that's the worst thing. You won't educate yourself, but you'll look to me to educate you. I won't. But they're not doing the work themselves to actually try to completely dismantle the system, or at least do your small part, or do what you can within your life and within your family. So that's the part that really bothers me with the social media activism. On one hand, I'm like, it's great, you're using your platform, especially for those who have much larger platforms. And then on the other hand, it can come off disingenuous, because it's like, if this is the only thing that you're doing, because you're like, okay, I'm just going to do this and I'm not going to feel bad. Okay, I'm going to hashtag Black Lives Matter. Okay, great. Okay, I did something. But you're not doing anything else. That's a problem too.
And it's not a situation where it's like, obviously, where you have to record yourself doing it. Like, you got to show that you're actually like standing up against racism. But like, people who are really out there doing that work, they're not on Twitter going, oh, I feel for you, Black people. What can I do to help? This is not your first rodeo, sis. It's 2020. In 2020 alone, we've had over a dozen kills. You know the game. You know the playbook. Read the goddamn playbook and stop asking me to feed your feelings.
Facts.
It's like, stop asking. Just do it.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me, because at the end of the day, let's be honest, it's not my job. None of this was created by me. And at the end of the day, I cannot dismantle it.
Right.
I can't. I can fight against it. I can vote, but I can't dismantle something that wasn't made by me.
And, also, I should point out, like, I've been tagged on Twitter for a couple of different things. And I'm sure the intent was phenomenal in your mind. But read the freaking room. If I am on Twitter going into like full rants, don't tag me talking about I need people to come on my channel and have a conversation. Nope. Y'all have the conversation. You know what I want to see? I want to see these people making all these videos. I want to see a whole group of white people having a conversation like we're having right now. And you know why we will never see that? Because it's uncomfortable. And uncomfortable means you're actually doing something that might matter. But we're not going to see that kind of movement, because that kind of movement puts them in a spotlight where they're at risk of losing something. And all of this is just a clout chasing moment for them, because if they're seen on Twitter uplifting Black people finally for 2 more weeks, because they'll forget about it until the next person gets killed, right. Then there's something. And it's like, I have also retweeted charities, bail funds, right. Places where you can donate specifically for protesting Black. I've posted other things. So it's like, I'm telling you what we need you to do, and you continually tagging me on this ish is gonna get you cussed out. Like, you're not listening. You're doing what you feel that we need when we're telling you what we need, and you're just ignoring us. Like, you're part of the problem at that point, even though you didn't intend to be. And intent is fine. But if your intent produces a different reaction than what you intended, then that means you messed up.
You messed up big time. There is a lack of true empathy, I think. A lot of it feels very, I'm just going to be honest here, a lot of it feels very disingenuous.
It does.
Serving. And it's weird though, because I live in this very strange place where I almost feel guilty, or not guilty, guilty is not the right word. I almost feel bad saying that, because it's that place of like, well, at least they're saying something. But then it's like, okay, but what if it's not really helping though? That's the problem. We get caught up in this pattern where these disingenuous and completely ineffective acts of activism, I guess, they're not true activism, occur by people because they're trying to relieve themselves of some sort of responsibility. But at the end of the day, they're not really doing anything that's going to have any type of impact, whether it be lasting or short term. And it's a stopgap measure. It's a Band-Aid. It's like, okay, everyone's looking to me to say something. Everyone's looking to me to prove that I'm not racist and that Black Lives Matter to me too, since, you know, obviously Black people follow me on and support me. So I'm going to just do this, you know, for right now, and it'll go away in a month, and I won't have to talk about this or worry about this ever, you know, until the next time comes. So it's like this vicious, toxic cycle that keeps happening. And it gets to the point where, personally, for me, I don't think that it's very helpful to beg people to say something, to plead with, you know, with people to say, oh my gosh, please care about Black lives, please. I don't think that that's effective. I really don't.
I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed watching people call out booktubers, but I found it hilarious for two main reasons. One, if you have to beg, they don't care. Two, it was just the intensity of it, where I was like, you're calling out one person for not speaking. Like, speak yourself.
Yes.
Speak yourself. That voice and that energy that you were putting into calling out another person for not speaking, speak yourself.
Exactly.
Like, I found it hilarious because I was like, when have these people ever spoken up about this?
Never, unless it was Black History Month or they're talking about the hate you give.
Right. And
Here's my thing.
Triggered. Oh, Jesus.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm with you, Brittany. I found that shit hilarious as fuck. And I'm also not gonna lie and say that I didn't unfollow a ton of people that were just radio silence until it was funny. They were radio silence until when you went to their profiles, all you could see were their Black followers saying, aren't you going to say something? Aren't you going to say something? And then after, I guess, 3 days, they were feeling pressure. So they posted something, kind of like Tati was saying in the chat. They posted something on their stories that's going to be gone in 24 hours. They didn't post anything on their feeds. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Instagram specifically. I'm not sure what they were doing on Twitter.
Girl, I'm watching it on Instagram and Twitter. I'll be real, all the big booktubers I have unfollowed. Every single one of them except for Books and Lala and
Emma Books.
And Emma Books.
Yeah.
The only one that I saw that was out here speaking, like, anytime somebody says something about like all lives or trying to make it like, oh, you shouldn't say that, they shot back at them. They are what I like to call a white accomplice. I don't believe in the idea of a white ally. A white ally can sit comfortably on their couch, retweet a meme that Beyonce retweeted, sit back on their couch and go back as if nothing ever happened. An accomplice is somebody who is there with you.
Yes.
In it with you. So if something happens to you, something happens to them. Yes. That's why I don't believe in the idea of white allies. Y'all can keep that. I don't need you, because you're also the same person that'll go home for Thanksgiving and let your grandma call us all types of sideways names, and you'll just be like, oh, grandma, that's not nice. Or, no, it was your time. It was that time of day. Well, it's not that time now, so call her out. And
I know that.
We bought this whole thing to this thug moment. Let's back up here.
Oh no. You saw how I tried to smoothly move on?
You tried, but you brought it up. So let's go into this. Also, shout out to Ghost Reader, because, you know,
Justin,
all of us, his little tweets got a little spicy. And my favorite one was the one that was like, you know, if I die like George Floyd, like, at least I know book Twitter will be like, oh, they killed him. Here are some fictional books to read. And then he said, while you're reading about Star, George was real. And I was like, oh my God, snap, clap.
Okay.
But that's the vibe. Like,
that's our new energy for until the rest of the time.
Of life. It's like, oh, he did such a classy read. But I know for a fact his subscribers weren't ready. No. Because I talked to him personally on by text message. It was fan-freaking-tastic to see a Black man speak. And again, I don't force Black people. I guess this is going to sound so weird. I don't force Black people to have to speak up.
No.
Because whether y'all realize it or not, these situations are traumatizing to us. Multiple studies that some of us are actually experiencing PTSD.
I am.
Witnessing these murders over and over and over. So that actually does something to you. I have friends who are having physical reactions to the situation that's at hand where they can't even speak about what's going on. So I don't look at when black people don't speak up and then all of a sudden they do speak up. I don't look at it like, oh, well, you should have been speaking up this whole time. I can't do that. And I know there was a time when I could not speak up and I could not participate in the protesting and all that stuff because I had to actually deal with the trauma that the incident was causing me. So I want to say that I could agree with you, Mrs. WOC Reader, but I can't because I genuinely feel like I can't speak for all of them. Maybe some of them were going through trauma situations. And I know everyone's going to say it's wrong, but I don't give white booktubers or anybody else that same hand. I don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's my thing. I am not going to police us when we're already so policed. I'm not going to police our reactions. I'm not going to police how we're dealing with it because trust and believe, whether it be on social media or behind closed doors, we are all dealing with it in the best way that we can for our own mental health and sanity. Because at some point in time, we have had to interact with some piece of white supremacy, some of us more than others. So not only are we being re-traumatized by having to watch these murders, but we're also having to then walk out the door, okay, and live a Black experience, whether it's facing microaggressions from coworkers or people on the street, or God forbid you being pulled over yourself by a police officer, or whatever the case may be, having to send your sons out the door, your daughters out the door, praying for their safe return. So my thing is, I'm not about to sit up here and say, oh, okay, so this Black person finally posted something. No, because they're having to actually be Black in the real world, not just on social media with the social media activism or whatever the fuck people are calling it these days. Like, I'm not about to, I'm with you, Brittany. Like, I'm not about to judge Black people for how they handle their trauma and how they're moving in these waters, because I know for myself personally, I couldn't even speak on this for 3 to 4 days. All I could do was repost shit on my Instagram stories. I literally could not even talk.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I speak a lot now, but I couldn't do it before. Like, it was painful. Like, I spent all the voice that I had back in 2016 just begging my brother not to go outside. So it's, I personally cannot sit here and look at other Black people and be like, you have to speak up. Nah, we've been speaking up. We live, this is us. Watching George, Brianna, Nina, all of them, watching them as a Black person, you can very well put yourself in their shoes.
Yes, easily.
What if this was me? And so for me, I personally just feel like the hate you give is trash. Oh my God. I've been trying to like not trash, and not even trash in the way of like the book was terribly written or anything. It's literally the white scapegoat of, oh my God, well, like, I don't really want to see what's on TV, but like, I'll read about it and say how great it was. And then we'll leave it at that. Because it's so important. It's such a story that has to be told. It's literally the story happening right now. And motherfuckers want to recommend that book to read? Watch the news.
Honestly, that was literally the whole basis of starting this book club, was that we were so tired of Black trauma being celebrated and recommended to us. Like, what the actual fuck? It's like, we actually have to live this out. Like, please don't recommend this book to me. Like, yes, I've read it and okay, it's important, but by God, please do not recommend this book to me. And that was the whole purpose of this book club, not just because we wanted to uplift Black authors and celebrate them, but because we wanted to create a platform where we can talk about more than just our trauma. I mean, obviously, ironically, here today, that's what we're discussing. But the idea that we are only palatable when it comes to our trauma, we are only interesting when it comes to our trauma, only our trauma is important about us or distinctive, or that to me is so revolting. I don't even have words. Like, no. And it's hard for me because I have nothing personally against Angie Thomas and her book, The Hate U Give. I just think that it has unfortunately become a tool that I don't think it was ever meant to be. But I think it's unfortunately become a tool where it's basically become a scapegoat of sorts, where people use it. Yes, people use reading that book and loving that book. And by people, I mean not non-Black people. Use reading that book, recommending it, loving it, acknowledging how important it is as a way for them to sort of completely disavow themselves of any other sort of responsibility when it comes to actually caring about Black lives in reality and not in fiction. They feel that because they loved this book and they read it and they felt things and they cried and maybe they went to the movie, that they now somehow understand the entirety of the Black experience when it comes to police brutality. And now, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And they feel that they now no longer have to actually activate themselves in real life by the things that we've already talked about, which is donating, educating, talking to your family members, et cetera, actually taking steps to dismantle the system that is so painful and has literally made us its targets. So that is unfortunate. That is deeply unfortunate. And I hate that. I hate that for Angie Thomas and I hate that for this book. But yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like, I have never faulted Angie Thomas for writing that book. To be clear, I mean, I do still believe it was a book that was supposed to be written for white people. And it's just unfortunate that the message of that book, it's like, how do y'all read this book and miss it? You miss the message of this book. And you know what? Y'all right. They did cast a biracial girl in the Thug movie to make white people more comfortable. Absolutely. We know because they do that to the covers of books. They want the girls to be light skinned, and then the first thing you read in the book is she combed her 4C hair and rubbed shea butter on her cocoa skin. And then on the cover, she's like high yellow with like 4A hair. We know that there's a comfortability, there's a comfort factor that goes into these things, but we're literally just sitting here like, to any person, any non-Black person who watches our streams and supports us, thank you.
Yes.
But it's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
Make a difference. Do something. We're like, I'm not begging you to do nothing. If you don't want to do nothing, that's fine. Don't do anything. But don't send me messages talking about oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I had more to say. I don't need you to say anything. I need you to
speak louder than words. That's all I have to say.
Yes. I don't need you to say anything. I need action. We go out here. We're angry. We're voicing our concerns on Twitter. We're making these lives. We're doing all of this stuff. We're telling y'all stop making these dumbass YouTube videos. Like, we get enough of this during Black History Month. Y'all don't have to do it after a Black murder, okay? Like, we get it.
Oh my God.
But like, there are other things you can do that actually make a difference. Like, also, oh my God, it's Monty Price made a fantastic point. If they've labeled a book as important, odds are the content was not absorbed the way that it was intended.
Damn, that word has become a blanketed word to use when you don't really have any real thoughts or comprehension. I was going to say something about The Hate U Give, the film. I was going to say two things. The first thing I was going to say is that to this day, I have not seen that film. And I quietly protested it by not watching it simply because they did cast a biracial girl as the lead. Nothing against biracial girls, but for me, as a dark-skinned girl with 4C hair, you know, reading the book, I could actually identify with Star. Looking at the cover, I'm like, great. Looking at their casting choice, I was like, you lost me. This is where I got to get off the train. You lost me here. And then the other thing,
we've gotten a lot of hit back. I can't believe you never read that. I can't believe you never watched it. It's such a good movie. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I turned on the news the other day and a thug incident was happening. And you don't even care. You worried about me reading Thug.
Exactly. I will say though, because if Angie Thomas ever watches this, which is very slim to none of a chance, but you never know.
Sorry,
I do really enjoy the come up. I enjoyed it.
I've heard good things about the come up. I heard that it was not Black trauma.
It's not. So it's actually really good.
I might actually give that book a chance.
You should. Listen to the audiobook. I liked it.
Yeah, I heard that. Like, that's the thing. Like, Angie Thomas is a person I actually want to interview. And I want to ask her a legit question. Like, did you make this book for white people? I legit want to be able to ask Angie Thomas that question one day and hear her. Wait, are her pronouns she and her?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Yes. So I really want to hear what she has to say, honestly. Whoa. Was Dear Martin that bad? I've never read Dear Martin.
Here's the thing. I have tried numerous times to read Dear Martin for like 2 Black History Months in a row.
Oh, no.
But, yes. Because I adore Nick Stone. Like, her online personality is amazing. She's amazing. You could tell she's an amazing person. And I love everything that she's doing right now to uplift Black creators and writers on her Instagram. If you follow her online, like, I actually truly adore her as a person of what I've seen. So I have tried so many times to read Dear Martin, and I have not been able to get through it.
I mean, according to the chat, most people didn't like Dear Martin anyway, so it's okay.
Oh, Monty is going in. Oh my!
Like, and it's funny because the people in the chat are the same people that I see online.
What now?
I said the people in this chat are the same people that I see online, like fighting.
Yes.
And it's like, I see you, I got you. Yes. If you ever get exhausted and you need to tag somebody in, tag me.
Yes.
I don't fear Twitter. I don't know none of these people. None of these people bother me, scare me, inhibit me, nothing. Tag me. I will always be here to stand up for when people are trying their hardest to stand up, because it's not easy standing up for what's right. It's never easy. It's never comfortable. You are always putting yourself out there in a situation where you have to be, basically, you got to be built a different way. Also, shout out to Bae John Boyega.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm obsessed with him now.
Because he says the line that I say now was like, you think your words gonna hurt me? I was bred different. Like, I don't need it. I'm like, yes, my mood. I was bred differently. I don't look at Twitter and think, oh my gosh, like, these people know me. Nah. They're gonna look at my picture. They're probably gonna say some racist things. I'm gonna laugh, tell them that their mother is a joke, and go back to reading them to how they're supposed to be read. But at the same time, not everybody has that capability. And that's why I keep saying to people, like, I'm not telling you to be me because I'm amazing and I'm only me. You can't be me, but you can requote somebody who is speaking. You can retweet. You can share the organization. Like, there are a lot of organizations that you can donate to. Share those. Like me, I have a business, so I'm working on some products that will be exclusively. The funds for them will be exclusively for donations. Like, there are so many other ways that you can do things, and the easiest way to figure out what you can do is to get out your own feelings.
Right.
I couldn't figure out what to do to help until I actually had time to process my feelings and go, whew, okay.
Right.
What do I have right now? And I'm like, I have a business. Well, what can I do with my business to help? Money.
And
Boom.
if you're completely
There we go.
clueless, there are,
It's
if you have a business like Brittany, you can definitely do something on your own to help. And if you're just completely clueless, there are so many bail funds that you can donate to. And of course, you want to do research and make sure it's legit. But that is just like the least that you could do. If you're just completely like, I have no idea where to begin, then you can donate to help to bail some of these people out of jail.
Yeah, and if you feel like you don't have the energy to do anything, don't do anything.
That too.
And I say this more towards my fellow Black people. You have done enough. You exist. You're worthy enough to stand there and process you. You don't have to jump in this fight right now. Honestly, we're going to be fighting for a long time and we might need to do some tag-ins. So you know what? You take whatever time you need to get through this because I'm not optimistic. It's going to happen again. It's going to probably happen really, really soon. Oh, God, Tati, I was trying to avoid this.
Oh, no. What's going on now?
Don't start your research or what you can do or what GoFundMe is open. Do not start with Sean, the con man king.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a given. Please don't.
I'm just saying that for anybody who might be watching this and genuinely looking for a place to start, he's not it.
No. Here's the thing. There are so many legit activists out there and people who have been fighting for years and who have been in the trenches and who nobody talks about and nobody knows about. And they're at the front lines. They are they're the ones who are the backbone of the Black Lives Matter movement. And with just a little Google search, you can find these people and you can find ways to help them and ways to donate to their causes and things like that. So definitely just don't think that because somebody is super popular on freaking social media that they're relevant and incredible. Okay, please do your research.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention this name. Tony McDade was also lost his life. I'm hoping that was the right pronoun. He also lost his life. I think that was the one in Tennessee, right?
Yes, it was.
To be honest, it's hard for me to remember all of the names right now because there's so many. And the more I try to think of the names, the more it makes me want to start crying because I'm already forgetting names.
That's the sad part. The sad part is that you continue to forget names and because the list just grows too long.
Yes.
It's inevitable that you're going to forget some people. And that breaks my heart.
We got a question. What's wrong with Shaun King? Okay, so here's the best way that I can explain Shaun King. Shaun, I'm sure Shaun started off with fantastic intent. Like, I'm very sure that he did, but it's turned into a thing where he doesn't actually check his facts.
Nope.
Like, he has to be the first person to report on a story more than I want to be the person that gets the facts out.
Yes.
And he'll get it wrong and not even correct himself. And it's like, bro, you have a platform that people are literally running to when things go down. You have to take that responsibility and have your facts straight. Also, he always does like GoFundMes and like all these charity things. We don't know where that money is.
Yeah, he doesn't release his receipts to show how the money is being spent.
And people are saying they're not getting donations from him.
He is also somebody that goes off of shock value and is trying to be as shocking, and he's kind of like the boy who cried wolf in a way. Like so many things he does, it's like a false alarm, and you're just like, wait, what? And then you'll find out later on, like, oh no, that didn't really happen, or it wasn't as severe as he said, or the facts were like wrong, like Brittany said. Like, it's just too much.
Yeah, it's like he will literally report something that he heard from somebody just to be the first person and not correct it. And we know the corrections don't get seen as like fast or as much as the original, but at least try. At least try. We are in a world where literally they wait for any reason to discredit anything that we do. And Shaun King is one of the biggest reasons we get discredited on a regular basis when it comes to just speaking up about Black people.
I'm over here cracking up because Tati called him a liar and a thief. Wait, what?
He's had a history of Montgomery Pierce made a good point. He has a history of speaking over and discrediting Black women who critique him.
100%. And he uses the patriarchy to his advantage because he knows that, not to quote Malcolm X, but to quote Malcolm X, Black women are the most disrespected. So he uses that to his advantage and knows that we're not going to be heard and we're not going to be respected as much as him. Ooh, Abominable went there.
Ooh.
Okay. I see no lies. But it's maddening. It's like he knows that we're going to be the least respected and listened to. And so he flips the script on us, makes us look like we're the ones that are not credible and we're the crazy ones. He gaslights us like crazy.
Now, and since you brought up Malcolm X, I have one more PSA.
Oh, here we go. I already know what you're going to say.
Martin Luther King believed in rioting.
Okay.
Martin Luther King Jr. believed in protesting. Martin Luther King Jr. was murdered by the same racist, bigots, granddaddies who come to us today on Twitter talking about violence is not the answer. What would Dr. MLK do? His son literally said that, and white people were all there trying to tell him what his daddy would do. It's like, listen, I know y'all love to quote MLK. I know y'all have tried to switch his character and his being to being this peaceful man to make you feel better when you only mention him in January, and specifically on January 15th, and quote the only quote you've ever learned because that's the only piece of history book that you opened up. But if you ever take the time to listen to the other speeches that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., since y'all love saying his name over and over and over, since you love saying it, how about you open a book and read his speeches and his sermons? Because I guarantee you, multiple ones are like, we can peacefully protest, but if it goes down, it goes down. And another thing, I need everybody, I need them same people to stay right here in the front because I got more words. Malcolm X was not a tyrant.
No. Malcolm
X and Martin Luther King actually agreed on things that would hurt your little feelings if you actually did some research. And to be clear, Martin Luther King Jr. was murdered by racist bigots whose probably grandchildren are being my DMs trying to tell me how I should police what I say and what I do and telling me what would Dr. Martin Luther King do. I was like, well, nowadays he can own a gun, so he'd probably shoot you.
Facts.
So it's like, miss me with that. That's just that PSA. Share it with your friends. Just pass it along. I'm so tired of getting DMs. I was like, I got one more time to quote Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm going to not only quote Martin Luther King Jr., I'm going to just read you because you're so focused on the fact of my words, not realizing the emotion behind my words are stemming directly from the violence that my people are experiencing just by existing in the same world that you exist. We wanted to live by our damn selves, but we couldn't live by our damn selves. Y'all burnt that down when you realized we didn't need you. You forced this idea that somehow integration was the best option when we wanted to stay separate from y'all. And then you got jealous and burnt it down. Now we're stuck dealing with y'all on a regular basis, and y'all want to quote MLK to me like you didn't murder him. And you know what?
Preaching today.
Like, be that person that's comfortable in learning one thing. That one thing that all of our textbooks taught was I have a dream. I have a dream that you'll educate yourself and actually stand up for something other than what your granddaddy stood up for. Because your granddaddy was probably racist.
Woo! And on that note, we are going to be speaking on Paris Jackson.
You really make me go off today, don't you?
Okay. Like, oh, she went in. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Wait, we have to pause. You know what? I'm going to put them all together.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to talk about 3 specific Mayo Sapiens. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
LaKaren Del Rey,
Oh,
Taylor
no.
Swift, and we're gonna talk about our homegirl Paris Jackson. So if you love any of these three, that's fine. That's your choice. Number one, LaKaren Del Rey. Still don't mess with you. I was okay with your emo music before you decided that you had to get mad that nobody was checking for your emo music when Black girls was out here just shining. Granted, we also don't like Doja. I gotta save that for the live because that's a whole hour and a half of a live by itself. But the two that I talk about specifically are Taylor Swift and Paris Jackson.
Oh my God.
Taylor Swift has decided that she was going to speak out about Black Lives Matter. I guess that her gay Black friends actually mean something to her now, so she's actually going to speak about it. You know, the same woman who weaponizes her feminism only when it's convenient for her is going to make her look like she's going to be something amazing. That's Taylor Swift that we're talking about. I don't like Taylor Swift. She is an example of white feminism that only benefits her when, I guess I'll speak out now. I don't believe that her words are genuine. I've never believed that her words are genuine. She has too much, like her platform moves when she sees a value in it to herself.
Yeah.
So I don't need nobody else telling me, oh, well, Taylor Swift. No, Taylor Swift don't. We don't care about you, Taylor Swift. You don't care about us. We don't care about you. And you jack most of your stuff from Beyonce. So I don't have time for you. Next person is Paris. You know, the one who's Black when convenient, but actually white. That one. So yesterday on Twitter, she called herself calling for peace.
Oh my God.
Saying, this is not what my daddy or anybody else wants. And everybody was like, sis, did you listen to your daddy's music?
Yes.
The time of our live is because of Paris. Because it's like, did you miss the messages of your daddy's videos? I went to Bahia in November. And Old Bahia is where he filmed that music video.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. And they are very proud of that, by the way. Still, like there's one store where they still sell everything in there. And like, you learn the story and you learn like what those people had to go through. Because this Black issue is not just America. America is just the one that's the most out of its mind right now, getting recorded the most. It was just like, girl, your daddy said, I was about to say that. Your daddy said they don't really care about us. And you over here calling for peace in the comfort of your mansion.
Shameful. That shit is shameful. And she really showed her true colors.
Twitter.
She showed her true colors in that one statement.
Oh, apparently. Also, before I went to bed, I saw that Amber, our lovely Amber, was dragging her for filth. And the male sapiens were hot in her mentions. Hot in her mentions. Like,
I just want to say, for somebody who grew up in a Black family and has Black grandparents and uncles and aunts, that shit was just ridiculous. I was like, Paris, really? Really, girl? Really? Okay.
I mean, also, unfortunately, Abominable brought up something else that I was literally trying not to say anything about.
You're about to go in. I can tell. You're about to go in.
To the people who love Black culture, Black hair, Black nails, Black lips, Black noses, Black booties, Black shape, Black voices, Black men.
Yep, Black men.
But
are radio silent in moments like this.
For these Black men, I have a huge issue with you. Because, don't get me wrong, I love my Black men. The Black men in my life are everything. So you want to enjoy the Black experience from the outside with all positivity that you think it comes with. But the moment the reality of what the Black experience is really like, you have no words, or you want to tell me it's not that serious, or you want to be in my DMs talking about you feel for it too. Where is that energy?
Nowhere to be found.
Where is that energy that you had when you were posting pictures of you and your boo and then talking about how cute you guys were gonna have cute little mixed babies? Where is that energy where you were fetishizing my Black men? Where is that energy when it comes to protecting my Black men?
Nowhere to be found.
Who this pisses off, because that has been a thing of mine forever. And this also goes for my white women or my white men. Dating us is not a fetish. Dating us is not a thrill. By dating us, you are agreeing to take on responsibility that I don't think you're willing to completely understand to take on unless you're serious. We don't get to turn it off because we're dating you. In fact, we might become a bigger target because we're walking next to you and we might be putting you in danger.
Facts.
And it's just like, ugh, speak up.
It's
but
crazy.
Then keep fetishizing them because, I mean, when they die, I guess you'll be able to get on TV and talk about how hurt you are because they'll actually put you on TV. They won't put us on TV because they know nobody will ever put me on TV. They don't want that.
My thing is, it just goes to show how, like you said, it's really exposes the level of fetishization that happens in a lot of interracial dating and relationships when you are literally dating someone from the race that is the most attacked on the entire planet. And when things like this happen, you literally have nothing to say. And in a lot of these men and women have children too. So it just blows my mind because I'm just like, not even for your children you're going to speak up? Like, not even for your kids though? Like, really? You're not going to say anything? Like, wow.
Right now, I've not seen anything. And I was just like, your baby, like, I know that your baby is mixed, but to the world, because of how beautifully dark skinned your baby is, they don't see that your baby is mixed with white. They see your baby as Black.
Right.
And I mean, when it's since the slave days. So how is it something that y'all don't accept now? It's like, sis, he's not light enough to be considered one of them. So obviously, like, and it's just like,
unless their child is white passing or racially ambiguous, they're going to face these same issues. It's only a matter of time. And you, as the white or non-Black partner, if you're a partner of color, this goes for you too. Just because you're a Black, or not even Black, but it's just because you're Hispanic or Latino or Latina or part of pretty much any other race, Asian, that doesn't exclude you from this conversation. Even though you face your own prejudices, that does not exclude you from this conversation. We're not just talking about interracial relationships between white and Black people, but it's just that place that, to me, I don't understand it at all, because I know in my heart and soul that if situations were reversed and I was dating somebody who just had a target on their back for being born, that if their community was under attack, I would be the first person on the front lines. I don't care. That's the person I love. I'm going to go hard for them, and I'm going to go hard for their community because we have children and we have a family. And this person, I'm going to protect their life. I'm going to protect their community. So it's just hard for me to understand that. I don't get it. And that's what shows me how much the fetishization is so deep. And it's like, they don't even want to admit it to themselves, but it's like, but you are exposing yourself by your lack of care, your lack of action, your complete disassociation. Because at the end of the day, when shit goes down, you default to your own community.
Yes.
You protect yourself. You completely disassociate, abandon, and step back, and you fall in line and you get on code with your community. That shit blows me. Like, I don't even have words. It's very upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, like, I worry about my friends and family on a regular basis anyway, just in general. But every single time a murder happens, and specifically when a murder happens where it's a tall, dark-skinned male, I think of my daddy immediately.
Yes.
My dad served for a country that don't even like him. Outside of his uniform, they'd shoot him down without a second thought. And me and my dad have had arguments about America because of this particular subject. And then in my mind, it's like I could see a picture of George and immediately see friends, loved ones in his place. And I think, unfortunately, it has to hit home for the masses to agree, but it's never going to happen because the masses are doing it to us.
Right.
And Cerebral is right. The moment that we're brought into this world, we're taught to stand by people and we're taught loyalty to what we care about.
We are.
It's a culture. We're also taught that the color of our skin causes a problem. And I have not decided if that is a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest.
To be teaching children, you mean?
Yeah, because, when I was in school, like one of the things that my parents told me, they were like, you are a Black woman. To some people, they see that as a double negative, to be Black and a woman.
Right.
And so you're going to have to work hard because that's just the reality. And in a way, it's like, I'm glad that they prepared me for that kind of, the reality of the world.
Yes.
But at the same time, why are we accepting this,
Right. It's interesting you say that because I had a little bit of a different experience because the first 7 years of my life were spent in Nigeria. And I was actually talking to a good friend of mine about this the other day. And I was talking about how, in a weird way, I was able to build up some sort of shore of self-love within myself as a young age because I spent the first 7 years of my life in a country where everyone was Black. And so it wasn't until I came to America and eventually became an American citizen that I had to learn about the fact that I was seen as a threat, that I was seen as all these stereotypical terms that come with being a Black woman, especially a dark-skinned Black woman, and looking obviously visibly Black, visibly even African, African features. And it was such a strange learning curve because I fully believe that if it hadn't been for those first 7 years growing up surrounded by basically my likeness, I would have had, just with my personality type and who I am, I know that I would have had a huge, huge inferiority complex. I think I would have had very low self-esteem because when I finally, figured out what was going on, because I was learning along with my parents, because my parents were learning too. Like my dad was having to deal with people literally making fun of the way he spoke, assuming that he was stupid, calling him racist names that he had never been called before, like monkey and things like that. And this man is in his 30s having experienced this for the first time. Same thing with my mom, having to experience this for the same time. So we were all experiencing it at the same time for the first time ever. And so there was really no like rule book, guidebook. There was no grandmother or parent to be like, okay, this is what you got to do. This. We were just completely out there learning by experience and through mistakes and things like that. And I just remember how much of a mind fuck it was for me as a child to realize that grown adults were looking at me as an adult and I'm like a child. They were treating me like some type of animal, or they were looking at me as some type of threat to like themselves and their delicate little, white children or whatever. It was so bizarre. So I like, just for my personality type, I know for a fact that I would have needed way more therapy than I do now if I hadn't had some type of image of like Black self-love at an early age. And I know like a lot of Black American parents do a great job of instilling that in their children from day one, having the Black dolls and, the books and, educating them and making them a part of their community. And if they can, putting them in predominantly Black schools and teaching them the history and stuff like that. But it doesn't happen for every Black child that grows up in America. Grows up in America from day one. And to me, I think that that's where the double-edged sword comes in. Because on one hand, you look at your child that's like this innocent, untouched, pure being that's just coming to the planet, and you you feel for them because it's like, okay, should I prepare them for the war that they're about to step into? Or should I allow them to have some semblance of innocence? And until that first racist encounter, Lord, I was talking to one of my really good friends who was telling me how her nephew, and her nephew is actually biracial, but her nephew was on the playground at school, and this was when he was 7 years old, and another little boy called him the N-word. And he was literally just like, and he knew it was a bad term. He knew it was a derogatory term, and he just didn't even know what to say. He was completely just shocked. And so it's like, that's where the double-edged sword comes in, because it's like, should I prepare them for this war they're about to step into, get their armor on, teach them what's about to go down, or should I let them have their innocence, and then that innocence is harshly destroyed, and that bubble is like fiercely burst with the first racist encounter they have, the first racist person that comes at them, that could happen as young as 5, 6, 7. I don't know what the answer is. I feel like when I have kids, I'm gonna have to figure it out then, but I don't know.
I mean, this is another reason why I'm not having children, to be clear. Because, like, I mean, the same way you grew up in Nigeria for the first 7 years of your life, I grew up in Japan for the first 15 years of my life. And then I spent 2 years in Germany, and I moved to the States a couple months before I turned 18.
Wow.
And my parents had taught me about racism. Like, it wasn't that I was in Japan and experienced no racism, but racism that I experienced in Japan, I thought that was kind of like the extent of it. And then I moved to America.
Wow.
And this is going to hurt somebody's feelings, but the racism that we experience in America is not the racist, like, it's not on that same level in other countries. Like, we experience it in other countries, but as I've been in a lot of countries, I've traveled a lot. I can definitely say the worst racism I have experienced to date is in the United States of America, and by tenfold. Just the huge difference. The culture shock for me was, I mean, I felt like a foreigner even though I was an American, obviously, but the culture shock for me was mainly the racial thing. Because when I was in high school, we had groups, there's cliques in every high school, but there's also this understanding that, like, your daddy or your mama might be stationed there for like 4 years. So you can make friends regardless, because everybody knows everybody about to leave, don't cry, and then we're going to move on. Mm-hmm. I should preface that I'm a military brat, so my whole life was moving. But that kind of the military brat mentality teaches you 3 major things that, like, A, connections with people do not always have to remain physical for you to connect to somebody. 2, it's very easy for me to be friendly to anyone because my mindset is always like, I need friends.
Right.
And then the third thing is, like, I have a more cosmopolitan view of the world. So I mistakenly went to this side of the world and was like, whoa. And let me think. I've only done Costa Rica, I think, in Latin America. And, on one side of Costa Rica, it's a whole lot of Black people. On the other side, it's not. Right. And on the side that it wasn't, I didn't experience racism. Like, I was anticipating it, but I didn't. But there are some countries that I won't go to because I've heard of the racism. But at some point I am going to go because I want to experience it. But coming to the States was massive. It was like I'll never forget I finally got a car like right before I was graduating senior year. My car was crap. It was a crappy little car. But I was lit because, in Germany, you can't drive until you're 18. And then because I was actually an American citizen, I had to have my American driver's license before I could take the driver's license test to drive in Germany. So I never got a chance to get a driver's license. So I never knew how to drive until I moved to the States. And my parents got me the car, and we're all going home from church. And obviously, when you get your car, you find every reason in the book to go drive.
Yes.
me and my sister were just driving down the road, chilling, cruising, and we got pulled over by one cop. And we were driving behind my parents. So my dad didn't notice that I got pulled over. So my sister was like calling him, we had a little flip phone back then, was calling him. And, my dad comes back around. And by the time my dad comes back around, there are 4 cop cars behind us.
Wow.
And so we're like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? So the guy comes around and he's like, you guys fit the description of people who was robbing some store or whatever. And I'm 18. I didn't realize the importance of learning my rights until like now. Like if I have kids or nieces or nephews, they're going to know their rights immediately. So,
right.
I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand. He's like, can you step out the car? And I was like, I don't feel comfortable stepping out the car with all these cops here. And it got ugly.
Wow.
And that was like my first like American experience. And like, I could not stop crying. It was one of those situations where like, they knew they had messed up. And, thank God that my parents were there. Cause when my daddy gets mad, he stands straighter. It's like he put back on that Marine Corps uniform and got real badge numbers, names. They didn't want to give names. So my dad was like, fine, the license plate numbers, like, but they didn't do anything, they're still working.
Of course they are. Of course
because the only thing that I've learned so far being in America, I've been in America for 11 years now. The only thing that I know for sure is that the police, especially if they're white, will be protected.
They will. They'll always have their jobs. Things like this will always be swept under the rug. It doesn't matter, as we have seen with the situation with George, doesn't matter how many times they complain against them, they're still going to be working. And for me, it just doesn't make sense because I'm in the sense that if you are afraid of a large part of the population that you are going to be literally swearing an oath to protect, maybe this isn't the job for you. Like, I'm just like, if you are afraid of Black people, maybe you shouldn't be a cop. Okay? Maybe, just some thoughts,
Ooh, we just brought up another topic that I went on a Twitter rant on.
What?
Being a cop is a job, a career path that you decided that you were going to take on. I was born Black. We are not the same.
No.
The persecution that you're experiencing is not because, oh my God, I see a Black chick, I hate her. Oh my God, I see a cop, I don't trust him. The purpose of your job, granted, we all know the history of a cop. Well, for those who don't know, cops originated from the slave trackers.
Slave catchers, yeah.
Slave catchers were the original cops. So it shouldn't be surprising that we're still dealing with issues with law enforcement now. And I know somebody want to act like, oh, not all cops are bad. If there are 1,000, I saw the tweet, if there are 1,000 good cops and 10 bad cops, and those 1,000 good cops don't say anything about those bad cops, it is 1,010 bad cops.
Facts.
Your silence is consent. You put that badge on and said, you will protect us. You put that badge on and said that your community will be protected by you. If you're attacking your community to the point where they want to burn down your precinct because you were too busy at the murderer's house protecting him and not the people, how do you look at your community and blame your community? You promise to serve and protect, and the only thing that you are doing is protecting each other.
Yes.
And then I see, because I have cops in my family, they don't like me right now. I don't care. I told them I don't like them for making that decision to be there because they claim, well, I'm going to be a cop so I can make a difference. What difference have you made in your precinct? Are you afraid to speak up because you'll face backlash?
And honestly, it's such a shame that is the reason why they don't speak up, because they're afraid of facing backlash against their fellow cops. You know, there's such like a code of silence. It's so entrenched within their culture and in their job description at this point, might as well be, that is why 9 times out of 10, they're not willing to stand up for what's right. Like, for the fact that, Brittany, going back to your situation, at 18 years old, you and your sister get pulled over and there are so many cops there and not one single one of them was like, okay, hold on, let's just calm down here. You know, that to me is mind blowing. It's like they all just fall in line, and they fall in line with the wrong thing. And there's not a single one of them that's willing to step up. And obviously, I'm generalizing. I'm not saying there's never, ever been a situation where a cop didn't speak up. I'm just saying that's not the norm. Otherwise, we would see it more. But to me, it's sad that you are that afraid of your fellow cops that you are not willing to stand for what's right. You are actually willing to sacrifice the oath that you made to protect the people. You're willing to throw that away. You're willing to completely shit on that to protect your fellow cops. Make it make sense.
And then, like, I work in a job that's predominantly older white males, and I have some Latino males that act like, because they married white women, that they are also white. That's the best way I can put it. I can't sugarcoat that. Not sorry. And something that is difficult for me is I am a Black woman in this world. I have filed complaints against them. It took me 6 years working in my profession to get the courage to actually speak up. And because legit, I was worried that I was going to lose my job.
Facts.
And you know why that's the dumbest thing you could ever do? Because I was miserable for those 6 years, watching it go down and not speaking up. So once I filed that first one and they saw it was no longer a game, I'm in there. It's like, and I get it. And Cerebral brings up a point. Like, they do get fired or acted violently against. It's true. But I'm not saying go in there blindly. You need to have a plan when you're making these decisions to do this. In certain cases, you need a lawyer as well. Yeah. And documentation. I had an entire notebook of incidences within the last 6 years that I experienced based on being Black and being a woman, and sometimes being both, with dates that had happened, who was there. And I literally walked in there and dropped the book on their desk. Like, I would like to file an EEO complaint against all of these people.
Wow.
People were so mad. Some quit because they knew they were about to get in trouble. Is my office fun working right now? Honestly, no, it is not. No one talks to me because they are afraid of getting an EEO complaint. And you know what that means? That they're trash. That they don't know how to talk to me without offending me. That they don't know how to talk to me without being a racist bigot. And I don't need to talk to them at work. And to be clear, I'm also a higher level than most of them are, and they don't like that either.
I hate your job so much, Brittany. I swear to God. Every time we talk about it, I'm like, I wish the protesters would have burned that place to the ground.
It pays the bills, man.
Like, I'm just, every time you talk, I just feel enraged. And it's true, though. It's that place where you are afraid to speak up because you're afraid to lose your job. Like, my friend Cassie and I had a similar experience when we both worked at the same company, where we literally had a coworker that would make such racist remarks to us on the regular. And we really didn't know what to do. She was this older white woman, and that was from Tennessee, I think. Sorry, my dog is losing his shit. He's angry too. Tobey is not having it. But
our lives.
She would say such off the wall. Like, I remember some of the comments. For example, she made a comment to us one day, just out the blue. By the way, we never invited any of these comments. Obviously, we weren't even necessarily be speaking to her. She would literally just come up to us and say these things. But at one point she said to us, "Oh, I love walking around in public with my Black male friend." And we're just looking at each other like, okay. And she was just like, "I just love holding his hand And I do that to piss off Black women. And we were like,
what?
I cannot make this shit up. We
No
were like,
way.
I'm sorry, what? And she was just like, it's so funny. And she just started laughing and just walks off. And I kid you not, we literally just looked at each other with such looks of shock. Our jaws were dropped. We were speechless. And that's just an example of the comments that she would make regularly. And nothing actually ended up happening to her until, you know, we were afraid to do anything because our HR department at the company we worked for at the time was very shady. They were the type of HR department that if you complained against a superior, they would tell that superior that you complained about them.
Wow, that is.
So you can see why you can see why we didn't trust them, because if somebody complained about, you know, their superior, all of a sudden the superior is having these secret meetings with that person. It's like, I heard you complained about me, and we were like, okay, we're not even about to play this game.
Oh my God.
Yes, but the only way that we ended up finally reporting this woman is our boss at the time. We got a new boss, and we would tell her these things, and she was like, I hope y'all know this is completely unacceptable. And we're just like, well, we know that, but we don't, I mean, what were you going to do? And she was just like, you need to write me a detailed statement of days and times that this was said and send it to me right now. And we did that, and she forwarded it to the right people. And before we knew it, that woman was let go. And I remember when she was being let go, she had the audacity, to literally break down in tears.
Of
course. Break down in tears and talk about, you know, how she's not racist. And yes, it can't make this shit up.
Yo,
she's not racist. She didn't mean any of the things she said.
Pleasuring a Black man does not stop you from being racist. That is all. Having a Black boyfriend or girlfriend does not stop you from being racist. Having a mixed child with that's half Black does not stop you from being racist. Having a Black grandchild does not stop you from being racist. Having a Black best friend does not stop you from being racist. Nothing stops you from being racist except you not being racist.
PSA of the year. But yeah, that was her whole thing. I'm not racist. I didn't mean that in that way. They took it wrong. I was just joking with them, and her little like Tennessee Southern woman accent. I was just, you know, crying, like literally crying. And they were like, my boss at the time kills me because she is a Dominican and Cuban woman of color. And she was like, she literally looked her dead in the face and said, you've already been terminated. All of this crying is not gonna do anything. It's a done deal. Sign here, and here. I was like,
that is what we like to call an accomplice.
Okay.
See the difference? See the difference between an accomplice versus an ally? An ally is somebody you can go tell that it happened to, and the only thing they can give you is prayers. An accomplice will say, oh no, sweetie, that's not how this is going to work. Let's handle this. Right? There is a difference. I want accomplices, not allies.
That is
I can speak up what's happening to my Black friends.
Yes. Ooh, that was like one of the biggest moments of vindication I've ever felt my entire life, because it, like you said, it was literally somebody else, an accomplice, stepping up to the plate and being like, no, it's not gonna fly.
That's amazing though. Like,
yes.
Wow.
Yes. But
also Tony and Cerebral, and they said you should have just caught all of her tears.
Look, I'm glad y'all said it because I didn't want to say it. I was just like, when she started crying, we all know what time it is. Just like,
the clear-headed person in our group. She's the one who says everything nicely. I just don't have the capacity to figure it out today, so.
I'm trying to get this monetized, girl. You acting.
Well, okay, so when we do get monetized, obviously I'll be a little nicer about my words. I'm not going to stop speaking the truth, but I do want that money, so I will not curse, you know.
I don't want you to change. I think it's a good balance.
I feel like for the most part, I I stayed calm. Also, Tati, we're not talking about Tamara Mori.
We're not?
Why? You just want me to go on another rant. That's all you want me to do.
No, I was just like, you know,
that's the same.
Already
husband called her racist. Also, here's a question for everybody. You know what? Let me just read some definitions. Go ahead and something else. I can look up definitions so I can read them appropriately.
Okay. I'm going to read some of these comments. Justin straight up dragged you and said you won't be nicer. I agree. Let's see. Novelist DN says, like Thought Crime says, some white women like the power trip of dating Black men, but still know that they are more powerful in social standing. Wow. Cerebral says, when I was younger, white women crying near me was a trigger. I would get frightened immediately because no matter what, I was screwed, even if I was right.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Let's see.
Okay. Here's a definition that's fantastical.
Oh, Lord.
Preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. Another definition: prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. So I just read the definition between prejudice and racism.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this with every part of my being. I'm not racist. I don't consider Black people superior at all. Like, I've never once been like, Black people are the best thing. Like, to be clear, I do say that a lot. I'm like, Black people are amazing. I love my people. I'm not being racist. I'm not racist.
Love and support.
Right. I'm not being racist because I love my people. Now, what is racist is you somehow believing that I shouldn't be allowed to uplift my people, as if that somehow puts them on a stool you don't want them to be on. That's something you need to check with yourself, because that has nothing to do with me. I will never not praise my people. We could literally be doing nothing but sitting next to each other, laughing so hard that we're crying. At the end of that, I would probably still be like, God, I love being Black.
And it's honestly, what people don't understand is our level of how vocal we are about how much we love our people and our culture is a response, okay? A response to centuries of degradation, subjugation, hatred, being treated like we're not even people. It's like there would be no reason for us to be so vocal if we hadn't been so stomped upon and silenced for so long. And that's the part that really annoys me, because I do see those annoying ass people on social media that want to say, well, you know, if I said white lives matter, people would get mad. And if I said white power, then I'm a white supremacist. And I'm like, yes, you are.
If you over here calling white supremacist slogans, then yeah. Don't be mad at us if that's a white supremacist slogan. Take that up with the white supremacist.
So it's like people want to get mad at what we do, but don't want to look beyond that to why we do it. And that's the part that really annoys me. And that's the part that speaks to ignorance and a lack of education. And like I said at the beginning of this live, I'm not here to educate you. It is 2020. Google is there. You can educate yourself. So that's the part that gets on my nerves. It's like, well, you're racist because you said this. And it's like, well, have you even thought about maybe why I'm so vocal about why I say Black Lives Matter, why I say Black power, why I say Black is beautiful, why I say Black girl magic, why? No, you haven't thought about it, have you? You haven't thought about it at all. You're just looking at it and you're automatically triggered because you have an inferiority complex, because deep down inside, you want to turn this around and make yourself the victim to completely absolve yourself of the guilt that you feel for the part that you have played in all of this.
Tati said it right. That is a perfect point. My love for being Black, like I randomly post all the time, like, God, I love being Black. it's never against another race.
Never.
It's never like, oh, Black people are better than white people. It's literally like, yo, Black is lit. I love being Black. And it's just like a collective, like, God, like, I love being here. And then, like, I have shirts that say different things. Like, I have a shirt that says Black equality is true equality. Or something about the, where I said, like, just Black peace is true equality. And I wear them when I travel. This is petty. I know it is. I have no shame. This is petty. I will wear shirts like that have what some other races would consider provocative statements, just to see what's going to happen. Most of the time, I get a lot of white people that stare at me, look at me in disgust, and then like move out the way. But one time, I was getting on an airplane, and I will never forget this. I ended up sitting next to this older white man, and I'm like getting my stuff together, and he's like, "Before you put your headphones on, do you mind if I ask you a question?" And I was thinking like maybe he needs to go to the bathroom or something. So I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he was like, "What does your shirt mean?" And I was like, "Do you really want to know, sir?" And he was like, "Yes." He was like, I was like, "Well, what do you think it means?" He was like, "Well, I admit the first time I saw it, I was really taken aback. But you're smiling, so it must mean something good." And that was the first time on a plane I've ever talked to a stranger. Because normally I put on headphones and talk to nobody. But we actually had a joyful conversation. And he was like so happy to talk to me. And he wanted to tell me about his whole life. But that was the one time. Actually, I'm going to try to find that shirt while I'm talking. But that was the only time I've ever like had a conversation about like anything. Like Black is phenomenal. We are so powerful on our own. The moment we start really coming together, when Black Girl Magic became such a phenomenon that white women were mad because they couldn't say white girl magic, even though no one told them that they couldn't. We just said they were yet again copying us. That was amazing. It's like, dude, y'all get so pressed when we come together in groups that, like, how do people not realize how powerful we really are? Like, we stand in a place where the only reason that everything else seems like it's pushing against us is because we are also against each other. And all together and do this together.
And that's what it is. Like, when you as a Black person can say, I love being Black publicly, and you can say Black is lit, and I wouldn't trade being Black for anything else. People don't understand what a revolutionary statement that is, how much that is literally resistance, because everything in our existence and in our experience would tell you that this is not easy, right? Mm-hmm. And most people of other races, I mean, there's been a whole experiment done where people wouldn't even choose being Black because of everything that we face. So for us to actually be in this experience, be living it daily, and say how much we love who we are, we love our culture, our community, our people don't even understand how revolutionary that is and how much of a resistance in itself that is against all of the oppression. And again, it goes back to people not really digging too deep, to just seeing these statements, like you said, with the Black Girl Magic hashtag. I remember at one point on my personal Instagram, I actually had an old schoolmate DM me because they were offended that I used Black Girl Magic on all of my my selfies. And it was I was at that time that I was at a crossroads where I was like, okay, I could either explain to this person, or I could drag them, or I could just block them. And so I said what I had to say, and I just blocked them because I didn't even want to hear their response. But it was just like, why are you so mad about it? Why do you look at this and just get angry in your soul? And what is it about this that offends you? You need to do some inner work and dig deep and figure out why you are so mad. Like, that's the part that really just, I don't understand, because it's like, you have an issue going on within yourself that you can literally just see me being happy, living my life, and I'm not, showcasing any level of trauma or distress, and I'm just living in joy, take a selfie, use Black Girl Magic, or take a picture with my friends, use Black Girl Magic. And now you're triggered. Now you're hurt. Now you're upset. Now you're offended. Huh? What?
Also, I hate using analogies because we don't need analogies to understand we don't need analogies to understand white or non-Black POC's plights, but for some reason they need analogies to understand us. But I did see an analogy that was like, saying all lives matter is like sending a firefighter to a burning house and spraying the houses around the burning house.
Wow, that's good.
Right? And then I thought I read it. I was like, dang, that's good. But then I was like, y'all don't need analogies. Y'all just refuse to see us as equals still. Like, I don't know who taught you that. Like, your grandmammy is trash. Don't believe everything she taught you, bro.
No, don't. Please don't. And my thing is, you have to really dig deep. And I'm talking to all the white people. You have to, if this applies to you, obviously, if you don't get offended by these things, then I'm not talking to you. I have to put that disclaimer down because people are crazy. But if you really get upset about stuff like this, you got to dig down deep and figure out why. And
it's not even deep. It's not surface racism.
Look, there are so many levels to this that these people will swear up and down that they're not racist and all these things. But it's like, you don't even understand. You get more offended about being called racist than you actually actively being racist and doing racist things. That's the part that you really need to face. You are literally more angry at me calling you racist than you actually being racist, right? And doing racist things.
It's just like, so wait.
You need to unpack that.
Like, you saying the racist thing wasn't the problem here. It was me calling you like, I've seen so many, because I go on Twitter, say my piece. Sometimes I might see things, sometimes I don't. But I've seen so many white women mad that the messages that they wrote on Twitter calling themselves to be profound were actually like seriously like underlyingly racist. And they get called out and they're like super mad about getting called out. So now they want to come after Black women. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. This brings up So I'm going to specifically say her name. Y'all better leave Mayana alone.
What is going on?
Apparently.
What are they coming for my good sis? What's going on?
Because she reads the same books all of us read that are also by problematic ass authors. Now all of a sudden she's not allowed to say anything about big booktubers not saying anything. It's like, wait a minute. Yes, they were coming after her for reading like Stephen King and all that stuff. And it's like, guys, listen here. All of us have read a problematic author. Every single one of us has read them and bought books from them. And because honestly, how many of them aren't problematic at this point? I feel like every single day, one of these authors are showing their true colors. And I'm always just like, thank God I didn't buy that book, or sad that I did buy the book.
We're talking to you, Jay Kristoff.
Oh my God, yes. We are talking to you, Jay Kristoff.
You let me down, sir. I'm mad.
Then you're going to have to,
You let me down. Now I can't read the rest of your series. You see what you did?
I own that series. I'm going to finish it. But here's my thing. It's like, everybody has the right to say what they want to say. You also have the right to get the consequences for what you say. Don't say nothing if you're not ready for that smoke.
Facts.
However, to be clear, I've never been afraid of smoke. I say this on Twitter all the time. I don't care about getting canceled. What I care about is saying what's real. And it's just like, how y'all trying to cancel her over Stephen King?
Honestly, I think
y'all haven't even canceled Stephen King yet.
They haven't even canceled him yet. I think that she, for whatever reason, she's an easy target for a lot of these people, and I don't know why. On one hand, I want to say, are they jealous of how quickly her channel is growing, or like, I don't know. Is it because she's always putting herself out there? Is it because she is calling out the bigger?
No, you know what it was, right? She was
What?
calling out big white booktubers.
There we go. I was about to say that. It's because she was calling out the
Let's
bigger.
just say what it is. They didn't have nothing bad to say about her when she was posting all the Black Lives Matters and all that stuff. But the moment that she was actually calling them out by name.
By name. I saw that. I was like, wow.
Again, did I find it hilarious that they were calling everybody by name? Yes, I found it hilarious because I'm not about to beg you to speak out on my behalf. But what I can't understand is y'all were so pressed that y'all needed to find something to cancel her on when you got Stephen King on your bookshelf right now.
I mean, we have whole people that are obsessed with like Alice in Wonderland, that are Twilight fans. I mean, I'm a Twilight fan that, you know, still read Nicholas Sparks books. I mean, I'm just like, come on now. I'm
like, if that's your only defense for a Black girl speaking up about Black things, I'm just confused. And all that energy you put in trying to cancel her over Stephen King, you could be using your voice to actually speak up for something that matters, but you can't because you're uncomfortable. So you'd rather attack someone who is speaking up to get them to shut up so you can feel less guilty.
I'm telling you, guilt is a powerful emotion.
Man, the guilt has been real. And I just, you know, I don't know. We have a good plethora of people that watch our lives every once in a while. And, you know, if you are non-Black and you came to join us on this live or watching it later, because, you know, this is basically like a podcast format. So if you're listening to this later and anything that we've said has made you feel uncomfortable, or anything that we've said that made you feel angry because we said it, before you call yourself writing a comment and you know, telling us what's real and telling us how horrible we are, or how in fact we are racist, all those things, I know they could come at any time. Ask yourself, why did it make you angry to hear this truth?
That's all I want. That's all I want. I just want you to unpack why you're so uncomfortable and angry.
Because we're uncomfortable too. We are so uncomfortable and tired.
We're so uncomfortable. We didn't even show our faces on this live.
Oh God, fact. Because we thought that we were going to get so emotional that we didn't want to give them the satisfaction of seeing our tears. That is actually a freaking fact. We talked about this for 3 days. Like, I don't think I'm strong enough to show my face during this conversation. Because if I cry, I don't need nobody taking my picture and making it a meme because I might go to jail because I'm a fine. Because racist people have a tendency to take our pain and take our true emotion and turn it into a minstrel show for themselves to laugh at behind closed doors.
Oh yeah, and they love it. They love to see us in pain.
I don't want to give them that satisfaction. So that's why we said, let's test out this podcast format that we wanted to try.
I'm loving it.
I'm truly loving it because I've been able to like pace the room, and y'all don't see me having my my moments or anything. It's so great. Also, like moments. I know they're not trying to cancel her over Stephen King when we have people standing for Captive Prince in the year of our Lord 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually going to finish the Nevernight series because it was a series that I really enjoyed, and I already have 3 books and it's on my shelf. So I'm going to read that last book because I want to know what happens. But let's see.
I'm going to have to donate my book now. I'm glad I only bought the first one. What?
What is Midnight Sun?
Oh, that's the Twilight book that we've waited on for 12 to 13 years now. It's the one where it's she's basically writing the series from Edward's perspective. It comes out August 4th.
Oh yeah. Okay. And Mrs. WSC Reader said, I thought Mayana was their favorite Black booktuber to follow. They were posting her on their short list of Black booktubers. She's their favorite when she's not speaking truth.
Facts. As long as she's just doing her booktube stuff, they love it. If she starts actually speaking up for what is actually going to affect her as a Black woman, then oh no.
Because as long as they're comfortable, they like you. This is why me and O'Shea are never going to be big booktubers. Never.
We don't care.
We're okay with that now. Like I was pissed about it a couple of weeks ago, and then I've come to the conclusion I'm never going to be able to do that because no one's ever they're not going to be comfortable watching me because it's just not my person. My personality doesn't make them comfortable. And Mayana, when she's just chilling, they like watching that because that doesn't make them feel anything. But the moment them tweets switched,
oh, they were not liking it.
No, it's like Also, speaking of comfortable, hey Ghost, after you did that read on Twitter, like, how did Twitter respond to you? Because all of us were still very much shook that you even tweeted that in the first.
I felt like my wig had just flown off. I don't even wear wigs, but you dragged them for film.
Classy drag too. I could never drag so classy. But like, what was the general response? Or do we need to just go to Twitter and see what they were saying underneath your tweets? Like, obviously, you tell us, but that is a question we should ask. Like, if you are a booktuber and you have been speaking out against all the stuff that's going on, what has been your experience on Twitter? Like, are you getting responses? Are you getting retweets? What are you getting? Because me, all I've been getting are retweets. Nobody is bold enough to come at me.
Yeah, I think people are scared of you now, B.
That's fine. I mean, if you're scared of me, ask yourself why. Just
the truth hurts.
Because I'm not scary. I'm truthful. There is a very big difference. And that idea of that angry Black woman is something that they only say to themselves, make themselves feel comfortable and not listen to what I'm actually saying. So, Ghost said it, nobody came for him. It was actually pretty positive. Well, that's good.
Yet.
Oh, no, I saw Cerebrals. Cerebral, I think people still in your mentions. I saw Amber's, they still in her mentions. I've always just wondered, like, I see people speaking up and I see the people that are speaking up like every day. And they did come after the homie B though.
Really? No, but they're always coming after B though.
Honestly, at this point, okay, so this is my theory for why they attack B. Because I've got to figure out how everybody could be saying something. B says something and it's, we hate B. You know why? And I can't use the phrase that I was going to use because, oh my God, that would have been so tone deaf. B, stay choking them.
And
B
stay on their neck. That's why.
I didn't want to say stay on my neck because
why?
It just sounds really bad right now. Current situation, it's like, ooh.
You are absolutely right. I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, B is also known as they, by the way. But yeah, when I see that, I'm just like, how did they say that made you attack their person? And then I realized B is one of the most unapologetic voices on Twitter that I know of right now. The only thing they can do is attack their character because everything they're saying is fact.
Right.
And you can't get me if I'm speaking truth, right?
I mean, in theory.
Feels comfortable coming for Black women because they always try to turn the narrative into angry Black women instead of speaking truth. Book Twitter is also, or BookTube in general, is also a completely beautiful reflection of society as a whole in our everyday experience because it is majority white. White women have the strongest voices in the group. And they support who they support until they no longer like them and then they drag them. White feminism.
Woo.
What it is?
And I'm just over here.
It's just, I'm just looking at the comments. Oh yeah, no, me and Ghost have actually had this conversation. I was like, they like you because you are you're one of the few straight Black males in the booktube world that's still posting videos.
Right.
Because a lot of the other ones stopped, and like
you are an endangered species.
Love that. Ooh, a Black man who can read and he read nonfiction.
Stop it. Ooh, the thirst. The thirst is real. Oh my God, I cannot.
Right, I'm gonna stop. That just makes me laugh. Every time I do that voice in my head, it makes me laugh because I'm just like,
this is how I know this live is almost over.
Oh yeah, most people. I mean, we have good people actually listen to our whole thing, so I'll be intrigued to see who says something to that. We've been saying a lot of things, like we've been debating whether or not we should actually say, and then it was like, I get not policing. I get putting or wording your things that you want to say correctly. I get it because, you know, we want to be monetized. That's real life. Like we love our book club, and we want to expand our book club. We've got plans for this book club, and like we want to see it grow, but we also want to make money off of it so that we can, you know, make it the very best that it can. So I get having to make sure that my words are a little straighter to get this monetization. But, you know, we're also Black Pros Club, and we don't believe in having to police Black women. So
no, we don't
find the proper balance between the two. Also, can I just die of laughter because in Jerry wrote with his cafe a la creme skin.
No! Oh my God, Jerry, I'm dead. Have you been reading those Black love stories? What you been doing?
Oh my gosh.
What you been doing? Also, can we talk about how Brittany is reading a romance novel via audiobook right now, and I am so proud. Even though you hate it, I'm still so proud of you for sticking it out.
Well, I know somebody's gonna ask me. My romance reading month did not go as planned because my library didn't have the last two books that I wanted to read, and one of them finally just became available, so I'm reading it. And then I'll do like a final like recap of my 4 books and like what I think about romance after reading these 4. But those who are wondering, I'm currently listening to Wonder by Christina C. Jones, and I'm laughing so hard.
Because it has insta-love in it in a way. It's kind of insta-lovey.
Kind of.
It's the freaking...
She did for what? 6 hours?
Brittany. The world is in a bad place. There's a reason for it.
I mean, but 6 hours? Like the sun didn't even set.
Well, you know, okay.
Also, speaking of this, the sun didn't even set, and what they was doing, I was like, where are you? Is this in front of everybody? What is this, a porno? What is happening?
It's sexy, Brittany. It's sexy.
Sexy to who? You know what? I'm not going to say that.
There we go.
Because I respect all of you guys who read romance books, because I'm sure it brings you the same joy that reading fantasy and Black speculative brings me. So I will never, ever trash your decision to read romance. But for me personally, this is some soft porn. I can't.
Well, I mean, a good romance novel is a good balance between pornographic reading and a solid love story. The love story doesn't always have to start off in the most logical or, I don't know, like usual way. Like it doesn't always have to start off great. It's all about how you finish, pun intended, in a romance novel. It's about the journey, Brittany. It's about the journey along the way.
Okay, so I'm at the point. I think I'm at like chapter 10 or something where Micah comes to the house. Listen, yes. That's her second time seeing an old dude.
Yes, it is. I know. It's funny because Novelist doesn't like it either. She DNF'd it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to DNF it because I literally committed to this. So I have one more book after this, and then I'll be free from romance and legit I will not be purposely reading a romance novel unless the book club picks it, because listen, it's not my style. However, I will be faced this by saying, because I was talking about this in a video that's coming up this week. I don't consider Stars and the Blackness Between Them to be a romance novel.
It's not.
Genre.
It's
a love
coming of age.
No, it's a love story. Don't get me wrong. It is a beautiful love story, but it's not the kind of thing that it's not the kind of thing that I'm putting in a romance. I'm not putting that in romance. It's just that's not doing that book justice.
But it is a romance. It's just a different kind of romance. It has a little bit more of a coming of age. It has a little bit more of a broader scope, but there are actually romances that read like that. Romance is so broad. Like, there are definitely romances that don't really have sex in them, or they call it like more of a slow burn, where it's more realistic in the time frame of when the people fall in love. There are different categories. I still am determined to find the romance that you will like. I have made it my life mission. I don't need you to like romance in general. I'm just determined to find the one romance book that you will like.
I mean, good luck.
Well, I don't say the one other romance book that you will like.
I just
because you already like
Alice in Wonderland retellings or reimaginings. Like, I love retellings, so that's why I told myself that this would be a good one for me to dive into, because at least I can tell myself, like, because I enjoy trying to find like the retelling parts where I'm like, ooh, she's the Red Queen, or, ooh, he's Chess, that kind of thing. So I enjoy that. So that's the only reason I'm going to keep doing this book. But to be honest, I was reading the sex scene, or I was listening to the sex scene, and I was cracking up.
You will be.
It's soft porn. Like, somebody is getting off to this.
Yes, a lot of people are. Or getting ideas. I always get ideas. I'm like, oh, okay.
They definitely deserve it. If that gets your socks off, get them. Get them. I highly support this. But me personally, I just, this is just not my genre. I took a chance in it. So y'all can stop telling me I need to read it and give it a chance. I've read Stars and the Blackness Between Them. I read The Worst Best Man. I'm reading Wonder right now, and then I'm going to read a Beverly Jenkins one, because that is the number one romance author next to Alyssa Cole that was in my DMs for what I should read. And only reason I'm doing Beverly Jenkins over Alyssa, well, whichever one shows up first at because they're both on hold at my library. So whichever one shows up first, that's the one that I'm reading, and then I will be done. Ooh. Mrs. WOC brings up a point that will be a topic in a future podcast.
We got to wrap up, though, because we are over our 2-hour mark by 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we'll have to touch on that. That is an entire live.
I don't want this live to not get posted because it's too long. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. We do want to make a few announcements quickly before we go. The first one is, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. Make sure you thumbs up this video. The like feature actually is very helpful. So please take a second to just like this. Subscribe if you're not. Hit the notifications bell so you can actually get notified when we go live. And then also, our next live is going to be where we discuss our book club book of the quarter. So that live will be coming up on Sunday, June 21st.
No, it's June 17th. It's the third Sunday. Wait, hold on. June 21st. I was looking at May.
I knew it. I was looking at May. June 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You still have time to read The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa if you care to, and if you have not picked it up yet. And we also have another announcement that will be going live tomorrow. So please stay tuned for that.
Yes. Also, to all my Black people, You are worthy.
Yes.
You are loved.
Yes.
And you deserve protection too.
Yes, you do.
Always remember, if you need me to drag somebody, tag me in. It might not be right away because I turn notifications off, but I'll get it and I will drag in your honor.
I can't. I'm dead at you providing dragging services. You should charge.
On that note, we're going to say goodbye.
Yes, goodbye. Protect your mental health, Black people, and all other people who care. We love y'all. We will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.